morning. Can everyone hear me? All right. As the lovely lady just said, I'm Emily and I'm from ShortList Media. And I joined as head of digital 5 months ago. So we are in the midst of a real transformation. It kicked off before I joined, but my joining was part of a big investment in what we're doing with our future around digital. I thought I'd start with, well, here, let me show you the tiny agenda first. I'll give you a peek into where we've come over the last 10 years, and then we'll talk about the meat of it, which is where we're investing and making changes, and then a quick look at what we're thinking about next. So, I'm so tall I might block part of it. So, picture 2007. If you were going to launch a media company, what would it look like? Would it be a magazine? Digital was already prolific in 2007, but our founders, which include Mike Sitar, spotted an opportunity, which was a special way to talk to the metropolitan audience. We call that our Met set. These are young, affluent adults that work in London and the other major cities in the UK. And they are on this commute. There's so many media companies talking at them, but how could we connect with them in a cool new way? So they came up with a freemium model, which is a free but very premium publication. So ShortList launched in 2007, and it has been now 10 years. Tick, we have websites. And now, in 2011 and subsequently in 2012, they launched our email brands, Emerald Street and Mr. Hyde. And these are for also the Met set, that's our core audience. These are for people looking for the hidden gem. This is inbox media, but not a newsletter. So we want people to consume the content within their inbox. These aren't just links to a website to read articles. So it's in a really personal environment when we're spending time with them. And this creates further trust and engagement, and brands realize the benefit from that as well. I saw a piece of research that said that consumers like to be spoken to about brands in email. 70% would prefer email over any other medium for communication from brands. So it's the perfect environment for branded content as well. Just a quick one on joint ventures. We are in Paris and Dubai. These are joint ventures run locally with our partners there. So it's not part of our remit, but it does speak volumes about the potential globally with our brands and the kind of voice that we have. Experiences, so events and experiential stuff is a big part of what we started to do a few years back. Our Met set is really interested in going out and doing things, and events are almost like a social currency where, if you go someplace cool, you're on Instagram about it. So it's a really great way for us to connect and to get them interested in doing even more with our brands. So Stylist Live is obviously the perfect example. We just had it last week at Olympia. We upgraded to a bigger venue, over 20,000 people through the door. Engaging with all kinds of retailers and watching speakers, talk about all the kinds of things that they like to read about in our publications as well. So for experiences, we put on a variety. Actually, it's funny because a few months ago, we were right here at Hawker House for Mr. Hyde National Burger Day. I don't know if anyone came to that, but it's an awesome annual event all about burgers. So please come next year. And this time last year, we launched Family. So the Family is our creative solutions arm. It's essentially a creative agency in-house, and we've identified this as a really big area of growth. I don't think we're unique there. I'll put my hands up. I think that branded content is just really big in the industry, But because we're the experts in talking to the Met set, we have designated this as a priority for us to continue to grow. All right, now this slide that we've seen about 5 times already. So 10 years into the business, we have a clear vision and a lot of investment. So I'll walk through those. So the vision, I'm just going to put it there and not clutter up this moment. Okay. So I looked at some kind of mini SWOT analysis that would give you some insight into our business, just being transparent with you, what our strengths and weaknesses are. So our strengths really are creating content that the Met set is proud to enjoy. And if you think about the way ShortList and Stylist came about, you know, these are brands that people are consuming publicly, you know, on the tube and in front of other people. So it can't be some corny thing or anything that's too extreme. But we have a lot of flexibility, actually, and that's something that we capitalize on. We didn't go the normal route of a magazine that's cluttered with a bunch of headlines. Like, you know how there's clickbait on digital? I think it's kind of read bait on magazines, and then it's all kind of regurgitated content in it. Well, that's not what we do. That's a real strength of ours. We have one big story on the cover of the mags, and on digital, we follow that through. Weakness is that we've been print-centric for too long, so things that we're doing around that are, of course, all of the investment that I'll talk about in a moment, but also pulling together our editorial teams and events teams and tech teams even, you know, talking to everyone across the business to be more digitally led. So I was talking with our CEO about the real opportunity, because I was like, how about, should I say, to be a huge multimedia company? And I mean, that's a little tongue-in-cheek, I didn't really say that, but talking with her about what the opportunity is, it's ambitious but humble too, because it addresses where our strengths are. So it's way too small for you to read, so I'll literally read off the screen. But the opportunity is to be the expert on providing content to the Met set. It's really simple, but it's a really big opportunity because the Met set is the most lucrative, you know, parts of the audience in the UK. So, and the threat, you know, I think that it's a fairly crowded space. You know, if you think about digital companies and lifestyle media, it's a crowded space. So I think the biggest threat is to just get lost in the crowd. So that's why it's so important that we state our USP very boldly. All right, so investment. You know, the company has throughout this year invested, you know, across digital overall, but specifically around video and technology and data. So that's something I'll talk with you about, including our dev team, who's done a lot for us, including relaunch our websites. And then programmatic and data, which is my personal love that I'll talk more about. So content. Content to us is it's our bread and butter, but what we're focused on now is doing it really well digitally, and that includes video. So we just got serious about video this year, actually, which probably late to the game, but guess what? We're going to do it our way, and we're going to do it right. So they've built a team of 18 people specifically around video, and that's editorial and production. We have an in-house studio. We have complete capabilities to do anything for our editorial team and our own stuff, or for branded content. Scaling very quickly. So our video team has big targets doing, excuse me, I might need water, making 60 videos a week, which is a lot. And they're doing all kinds of stuff. Some videos are specifically created for social media to be fun and snacky and shareable, and other videos like the one that we'll look at right now is a hero content video that's more story-led and gets in a little bit further. So will you please play the video?
My feet hurt. What? I don't understand.
I could run. I reckon I could run.
So I don't actually know what's right and left.
Why did I say yes there?
I'm not going to lie, I think I might break my ankles.
How am I supposed to walk in that? Oh, this was easy. Why everyone complains about them? This is fine.
How's weekend?
Very, very good. Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so hard. That's actually quite scary. It's a little bit like when you put ice skates on. I just wanted to give it a go, really. See what it's like. You're late. You're late for your lunch appointment. Come on.
I have no idea how a woman could run in this.
Yeah. Right, you ready?
I don't know. Oh, you can go on the other side.
Loads of time. How are they doing that? How is the heel not sinking into the grass? Oh, nearly gone then.
I'm pretty sure that hill's going to snap. This is almost traumatising. I generally feel sorry for women who are forced to do this.
These are like digging holes out the ground. How are they? How are these shoes that? Nope. Oh. All right. They're done. I can put these in the bin, I reckon. Ow. Ow. I'm done. I did what you asked.
So that video was in response to, all of these UK laws that actually allow companies to enforce dress code for women to have to wear high heels. So we address, hot topics and things like that, but in our own way. So that's our own way. Right. So in addition to video and editorial content, we have what we, of course, refer to as branded content. I think that's pretty common, but a lot of people talk about native advertising, but I think that's such a flimsy term because it can mean so many things. So for example, we don't run third-party native content on our properties that, the clickbaity kind of looking stuff that will drive people elsewhere. It makes other publishers a lot of money, actually. And so it's when I joined, I said, we're not adding that stuff because they didn't have it, I was like, yes, they don't have it. We're not ever adding it. And it's like crack. For big publishers who have a lot of the clickbait type of ads, I won't name names of the companies that tend to supply that, but it can be a lot of money and it's hard to wean yourself off the crack, even though it's the right thing to do. So we're not on the crack. We won't be. What we're really focused on is always creating our own content, because we're the experts in talking to the Met set. So we have this branded content arc, and on the left side, advance is kind of like the new advertorial, but no one really likes the word advertorial. It's very product-centric, so if we get a brief where a client wants to sell products or really, talk about them and they just have something they want to say, well, we'll help them say it in a way that is true to us and will resonate with our readers and audience and get results. So it won't piss off our audience and it will get results. On the other side of the arc, we have Plus, and that is our story-centric content. And that is, I think that's the fun area, right? Where brands want to align with content that makes them look good or makes them look affiliated with certain topics, and so they can affiliate with brands like ours. So in the briefing stage, this branded content arc is very important because then we can enter into the planning phase of the content and really produce something that is meaningful. And this is carried across all of our channels and media. So we'll do this for video and print and web and social media. So these are examples of both. So Pandora did a plus video with us where it was interviews of, we call them pop vox. It's like quick little interviews on the street. And they interviewed women and their mothers about what they liked about each other. It's really sweet. But it was around Mother's Day. So that's plus content because it's not saying, hey, Pandora has this jewelry you might be interested in. But it's sentimental and they wanted to align with it. And clearly we all know what product-led content looks like. So commercially, we've been focused on packaging up, which again, I don't think packaging up is that unusual, content with ads, but we wanted to go a step further and guarantee how many views they'd get and really just be on the hook, for some results. So we do that through bundling up the content that we produce along with display ads and social media posts, and it's and whenever they're interested in print, I guess we can do that too. So another area of investment is our technology, of course. So we have taken all of our dev work in-house, and we've grown from a team of 6 to 10 engineers, and they're doing all of the front end and back end in-house, which was a big step because for the longest time they were using an external partner to do some of the heavy lifting. But what that didn't allow was flexibility and for us to be able to pivot quickly and add new products and do what we wanted. So it's a really exciting time. This has just been in the last few months. So new sites, they're iterating quickly, and we're seriously mobile first. I'm not just saying that, we're seriously mobile first. About 80% of our traffic is mobile, so we had to really address it. From things as simple as how we're showing image galleries. So like if there was a catwalk show with 20 images or something on our old site, you'd have to click through. And it's pretty old school, isn't it? So our new sites are very mobile friendly in the scroll kind of mentality. People are used to Instagram and everything. So they're just consuming in a much more user-friendly way. So UX is super important. Page speed, it's really important not just for the user experience, but for our monetization too. Because if a page loads slowly, then ads don't load fast enough for us to actually make money off of them. Same thing with viewability, actually. It's both the user experience and our bottom line and how well we can service advertisers. So the faster the page loads and doing things like lazy load, where we don't load the ads until a user is down the page near that section, that helps with the speed and the viewability of the ads. So it's really key for us. And this is one area that's close to my heart because I worked at Reuters as head of programmatic for the last few years before I joined. So I love programmatic. I'd be happy to geek out with any of you over the coffee break, okay? So I have to be a little bit fast because I knew I'd be close to the bone on this presentation. But our head of programmatic and data would, I did this to be tongue-in-cheek, by the way. It's not chill to rebuild. He's rebuilding everything except for our ad server right now. So we are sticking with DFP. So that's Google ad server. And we will continue to use AdX as well. But everything else is new and has required a lot of work. So we have just switched DMPs, so data management platform. We've moved to Lotame. But that's not just a simple, okay, put the tags on the page and you're good to go, we're tracking all the data. No. You have to go in and understand what kind of data you want to collect. You have to curate different audiences and find out where, where all of your strengths are, and you have to uncover more stuff about your audience that you didn't know. So we had a DMP before, but it was severely underutilized. So that's a huge focus for us because we're in a data-first world, aren't we? I mean, if you can't use data for insights and then activate against that, you're way behind the curve. Integral ad science, a lot of you in the room might use them because they're buy-side and sell-side. So we just integrated them a few weeks ago. That's for verification, brand safety, and viewability. So overnight when we launched our new websites, our average viewability of ads, display ads, went from 40% on Stylist to 60%. So 60% of the ad impressions were in view, according to the IAB standards. And it was lower before because of that weird gallery situation I was talking about. People are just trying to click through, pictures, and you can't try to load ads all the time when they're doing that because they're just going quickly. But with integral ad science, we will be able to actually trade on viewability too. So for example, once we know, and we're still analyzing this, by the way, so cut me some slack. We just, implemented them a few weeks ago. So we're looking to figure out how we should price inventory that has an average viewability of 90%, say, versus 60%. Clearly, if one ad unit or one ad slot has a higher propensity to be viewable, then that should be a higher CPM than a lower average. So we're looking at things like that. PubMatic, we were already working with them. They're a supply-side platform, like an ad exchange. And they have a product called OpenWrap, and we're the first publishers in the UK to use OpenWrap, which is a header bidder wrapper. So I'll talk a little bit about that, but again, I'm not going to dwell too much because we're short on time and we can always talk later, so just grab me. So without divulging pricing, I put X's to represent an old school waterfall. How many people in the room know what a publisher waterfall is? It's totally a supply-side term, but I'll walk you through it just because you're learning about how we do things on the media owner side. So we use an ad server to make ads appear on our page, and every time we sell a direct campaign that's through an insertion order, people typically call that a direct buy. So that would always take precedence, and then any impressions that weren't filled through direct IO campaigns, then we would make an ad call to a different demand partner. In the old days, that would be an ad network. Nowadays, that's an ad exchange. And then, say, in this situation, we were first calling PubMatic, but if they didn't have an ad for that particular user, with programmatic buyers are looking for specific user groups or, based on their data, for example. Maybe they don't have an ad. Maybe no one from their exchange wanted that ad or didn't value those users enough that would meet our minimum price, our floor price. So then the ad call would then go to the next ad exchange. And then maybe or maybe not, they wouldn't fill it. With every hop, we lose impressions because it causes latency and the user might bounce. And then just the difference between different tech platforms can create some loss. So this is not an ideal situation for us or the user, actually, because it can cause latency, as I said. So moving from a waterfall situation to header bidding is all the rage. It's all the rage, and every premium publisher is racing to get this right. More of the latest thing is a header bidder wrapper. So instead of just having, okay, let me back up. Sorry, I get ahead of myself sometimes. So header bidding means that instead of having to default and route everything through the ad server, we would host all of these tags in the header of our page on our website. And we know for every ad impression we have, we can see what price all of these different buyers are willing to pay. And we don't have to go in order of a waterfall. So it's calling all of them at once and then serving the highest paying advertiser. So that's header bidding in a nutshell. Instead of waterfalling, it's calling everyone at once. A header bidder wrapper makes it more efficient and lighter on the page. It's like a container tag, basically. So that creates less waste of our ad impressions and also more money for us and faster experience for users. Another thing we're doing data-wise, so we're of course implementing Low to May and doing all the work around building out our new audience segments. We also have a project internally that we're calling telemetry, not to be confused with any other company that might be named that. This is our internal project name. So we're looking to build a unified view of our audience across everything that we do. And that's pretty tricky, actually, when you have personally identifiable data, like in our email database. You know, we have Mr. Hyde and Emerald Street, and then we have Stylist Live, and we have all of these email databases. With GDPR, hopefully everyone in the room is familiar, but General Data Protection Regulation is coming into effect in the spring. With personally identifiable data, you have to be extra careful. So we have a whole project around making sure that we're minding our P's and Q's, but it's also helping us to have a better view of our users and to give them more choices. And there's a lot to it, but essentially we're on an upward trajectory to build a more and more robust view of our audience. So I'm literally out of time, but I think I have 2 slides left. Am I okay? All right, thanks. So all of this investment is already paying dividends, and it's really exciting to see. So on the around the branded content and family piece, we had a goal of 50% of our revenue by end of year to be coming through creative solutions. We've already achieved an average of 57%. So this year has been amazing, and the teams are running around like crazy, but doing an awesome job. There's so much to deliver. And video views, even though this is a new area for us, just over the course of a few months, they grew from 16 million to 27 million video views. Digital revenue growth, 20% year over year so far. Social media is an area of focus as well. We have an audience development team and social media specialists, and we've doubled our Facebook followers. And finally, Mr. Hyde, think Burger Day, you know, that's our fastest growing revenue line, and that's a digital brand of ours. Mr. Hyde is an email brand, but it's also tapping into the experiential space, which is key. So, final slide, a few last thoughts. Experiences and getting closer and doing more with this MetSet audience that we're the experts on is really important to us. So we'll be doing more events, not just off of our own back, but you know, for clients as well. You know, our events team works with family and puts on, you know, for example, pop-up events for a brand to promote a new ice cream or perfume and things like that. I want to use data as we build this bigger view, more robust view of our audience. You know, we're starting to segment our email subscribers more, for example. We could give people more customized options. Eventually, on the web, we should be doing more customized content too, not just target ads, but you know, target content. On the programmatic front, there's a lot we can do. You know, as I said, we're rebuilding it all right now, but in the first half of next year, we're looking to have our own trading desk, which is fancy speak for we can be a buyer as well as a seller. So we're going to have a demand-side platform, a DSP, so that we can do things like audience extension. So for campaigns that we're managing, we can find more of our MetSet audience on other properties and buy that on behalf of the advertiser. We can buy our own ads to promote Stylist Live and Burger Day and not have to use an external company for that. And then finally, just keeping our culture, because everything's moving so fast, and we've gone from about 140 people to 200 people this year, which is big growth for a medium-sized company, and doing so much, just keeping everyone on the same page and excited, and because everyone's moving 1 million miles per minute, which is fun, but we also need to keep everyone motivated and happy and thinking digital first. Thank you.